Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and it is 2 years to the day since I got this car, the Skoda Enyaq 2024 model. It's an 85 Coupe Edition spec. And I thought I'd do a quick 2-year owner review, what it's been like to live with, discuss some of the problems I've had, discuss some of the good points about the car, and then let you have a think about whether it's a good buy to buy second hand, because this is a great spec, especially compared with some of the newer models that are out today. But more of that in a bit. But before we get on to all of that, if you look down here, if my cameraman pans down, you will see that there's something missing from the car. So I actually had an accident with this car. I say an accident, it's really a stupid move by my part. Reversing out the driveway here, if you can see behind me, there's a great big pillar. Part of my house. Yes, folks, I drove into my own house. So this is how it happened. I was reversing back and I was taking care to avoid the fabia part there. It's the way the driveway has to be filled up, but normally I'm parked reasonably far away from this pillar, but recently I wasn't, and I was paying so much attention to avoiding hitting the fabia with the back end of the car that I hit the front end with the house. So this was all badly scraped. I thought it was only the plastic pipe I'd hit here, but I actually did hit the stone as well. So the black trim that goes around here, the gloss back black trim, was really badly gouged and scraped. All of this was scraped as well. And I basically took it down to a local body shop, and the guy said for a couple of £100 he would be able to fix this, but he suggested that the trim would be just easier to get a brand new part. So that's what I've done. And if you look here, you really can't tell that there's any repair there whatsoever. He's done a really good job. He told me he was going to strip all the way along there to where the kind of, I call it the radiator grille, but that grille is. So all of this has been repainted, and he's really done an excellent job. But the part to replace the trim hadn't arrived, so he basically painted this up and left it. We've since been away on holiday for a couple of weeks, and the car has been driving around like this since I came back. So time now to fit that. So I had a shop around, and it's a company in Slovakia called OEMVWshop.com. They haven't paid me for this video. I paid for this all with my own money, and they haven't sponsored it. And as you can see, I haven't even opened the package, so I've no idea if this is going to be any good. Okay, so you can see there, this is a genuine part. So this looks good. Nice and clean, not a problem at all. And yeah, genuine Skoda part. So then it's just a matter of, yeah, you can see actually 3 clips lower down, 3 clips on top, and 3 down the side. So then it's just a matter of getting those lined up and pushing them home. Right, let's have a look. Let's go from the top. That's then pushed in at the sides. There we are, repair complete, and it looks as good as new. Fantastic. So if you're looking for parts for your Skoda, I can certainly say that OEM VW have done a great job there. Well, this car certainly knows how to perform on demand. So I was about to say 2-year review, and I've never had any problem other than the heating, ventilation and aircon fault, which is more of an inconvenience than anything else. And got into the car and this has happened. So I've never seen this in person before. It does happen with a number of cars. I've seen it online on Facebook groups, and it's basically the computer has crashed. There's nothing really to worry about. I think I've read that if you leave it for 10 minutes, it will basically reboot itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try first of all doing a hard reset on the infotainment screen. If you've not seen that before, what you do is you just hold down the power key, which is here at the left hand side. No, that is not going to do anything. So what we'll do is, oh no, there we are, it is rebooting. So you can see you have to leave it there for a little while. No, and it's rebooting, and as you can see, the problem is still there. So what we'll do is we'll shut the car up, leave it for 10 minutes, and then come back to it. And there we are, as promised, 10 minutes. And I just went inside, did some Duolingo, practiced my Czech, and there we are. Car is back to normal. It's basically a computer crash, and like any computer crash, turn it off, turn it back on again. Although in the case of the Enyaq, and I guess the Elrock, it happens as well, then you kind of leave it 10 minutes and all is well again. I have to say that's the first time I've had that, and it was just as I was about to say, I've had no real problems with this car. So it just goes to show you, don't tempt fate and say everything's great, because something's bound to go wrong. So it's been 2 years, 26,000 miles give or take. We've had complete Scottish winters, I've had summer road trips, I've driven down to England with work, everyday family life. This car has been a furniture removal van when it's moved my son up to university in Dundee, and then in the last month or so we've moved him from his student halls into a flat he's going to occupy next year. It's been picking up second-hand furniture bought on Gumtree for that flat. It has been across to the Netherlands with my wife and I on holiday. This car has done it all. So this isn't a 48-hour press test like you see on some channels. This is the real story of what it's like to live with this car, which is the 2024 model Skoda Enyaq 85 edition. What's it like to live with day in, day out, and is it worth your consideration when you're looking to buy one of these, maybe second hand? I'm often asked, is it worth buying? And is there anything to watch out for when you're buying a second-hand electric car? Well, not really, because, you know, servicing requirements are minimal. If you've seen my video, which I'll put a link to above, is servicing's minimal. It's basically a tick box test, a visual inspection to make sure nothing is really wrong with the car. You can get an extended service through independent outfits like Cleveland, where they will strip and clean and lubricate your brake calipers and so on. That's not even covered in the main dealer Skoda service. So really, does servicing matter? It does for warranty, but in terms of the actual usability of the car, if it's passed an MOT, I would say you're pretty much good to go. The other piece of advice I always give when people ask me about buying a second-hand Enyaq is go for the 85. Don't go for the 80, because when this car came out, this is the 85, the big change was, it was the big technical uplift, the big update to the car. So when Skoda announced the cosmetic update in 2025, they made a lot of play about all the updated features and the new tech deck face. But really, that was a cosmetic uplift. What they did was they changed the face of the car at the front, and they moved away from the kind of fake radiator grille to the tech deck face that we see today on the latest models. They also did some interior changes, removing piano black and a lot of chrome, because that can reflect in your eyes when you're driving on a sunny day. Those sort of things were done, but really that's minor. The big change was the introduction of the new motor that's in this car. It's the APP 550. It's more efficient and it is much more powerful. I noticed the difference when I took this car for a test drive. I really hadn't known about the APP 550. I was just told, there you go, have the car, take it for the weekend and test it. And I wasn't really pushing the car's limits, but I had to do an overtake of a tractor that was driving particularly slowly. And when I put my foot down, my goodness, I got quite the surprise. So it is a noticeable difference. And the other thing is the efficiency. My previous car had a heat pump, and there is a difference, no matter what people say, between the efficiency on a heat pump and a non-heat pump car. And in my experience, this car with a new motor has been more efficient than my old car, which had the older motor and the heat pump. It's not a scientific test, but just over a number of thousands of miles, this car has proven to be slightly more efficient. But the biggest difference was the preconditioning of the battery. You can either do this manually by pressing a button on screen, or the car will know that you're on your way to a charger. It knows that you need to charge, and it works out the most efficient point at which to start pre-warming that battery, so that you get to the charger at exactly the point where the temperature has reached that sweet spot and you get your fastest possible charge. Put it this way, on my old car, I used to get 99, 100 kilowatts, maybe 10% of the time, and you had to get the battery low, around about 15% or lower, and the battery had to be at 23 degrees, and that meant either having to have it in the summer, or if it was colder weather, doing rapid acceleration and deceleration, what's sometimes called yo-yo driving, which is not comfortable and it's not a terribly safe thing to do if there's lots of other people around on the roads. So that was the only way to get the fastest state of charging. This car charges now at 135 without any hassle whatsoever, and I know that there are some cars, even some of the Enyaqs, will charge faster than that. I think the VRS is 175 kilowatts, but you know what? In my experience, 135 is absolutely fine in order to give me enough time to get inside, go to the toilet, maybe grab a coffee and come back. And if you've seen one of my previous videos, I always give this one as an example when people ask me how long it takes to charge. Driving from here down to England, stop at Lancaster, which is about 3 hours from here. Car has gone from 90 to 40%, and in 8 minutes that it takes me to plug in, walk to the toilet and come back again, the car was back at 65%. Any faster than that, frankly, you're going to be having to run to catch up with the car, because it will be ready before you finished eating or drinking or maybe even going to the bathroom. Anyway, that was the big difference, and that's what really prompted me to change. And as at today, Skoda still say that they are working on bringing that preconditioning feature to the older cars, but who knows whether we will see that. So as at today's point, and it is currently the 8th of July 2026, I would suggest that if you're buying a second-hand Enyaq, you go for one of the cars with software version 4 or software version 5. Do not buy one with software version 3 if you're going to be doing many long trips and relying on public charging. So speaking of software, the infotainment used to be something that got called out more so on other Volkswagen vehicles than the Skoda, but the first generation Enyaqs, it was called out now and then, usually by car reviewers who weren't spending that long with the car, and so it's a little bit glitchy. Personally, I never found it glitchy in the slightest, but there is no denying that the newer software is just much smoother. They've improved the processing power, I think, in the infotainment unit, and there is absolutely no glitching whatsoever in this unit nowadays. And of course, my car was upgraded first of all to 4.1. That was a dealer upgrade. Then it was in December of last year, and it was upgraded to 5.4.3, and then it was upgraded over the air to 5.4.4. so that is all good. And then over and above the main software updates, Skoda have introduced a number of new apps. Anyway, here's the latest software that is available on these cars. There is newer software out on later cars from the factory. My wife's Cooper Born has the later software, but frankly, I can't really see the difference to me. But what Skoda have done, unlike Cooper, for example, and unlike Volkswagen, they have brought a number of new apps. I've done a separate video on these back in January, and here you can see Air Console.
Welcome to Air Console.
Oh, I thought she was going to explain what it was all about. Okay, Air Console, you can use the infotainment screen to play a number of games.
Right here in your Skoda. Grab your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. Your phone becomes the controller and your Skoda the console. Pick a game and you're ready to play. Fun on your own, and even better together.
Well, I'll tell you what, that wasn't there before, so they've updated it again since I was last in here. So what you do is you get your phone, you scan the QR code or enter that code when you go to the website, and then you can play games. So all very useful if you're sitting around for a lot of time in the car. I personally don't. The only time I've used it is when I made the YouTube video about it. So what else have they added? This is a really interesting one. It was added for the first generation Enyaq owners, and it was to show the battery temperature. So even if they can't precondition it, it will allow them to see why they're not charging or whether they're likely to get fast charging when they reach a charge point. And what you can do, obviously, in this car is you can optimize it. But at the moment, it's 24 degrees because outside the ambient temperature is 23, and therefore the battery is in the right zone. So there's no button there to precondition it. That's a really, really useful app. I didn't see the point of it myself in these cars because I'll just go straight to the preconditioning menu, but people wanted to have it, so Skoda listened and they responded. Next one, Skoda Play, if you want to look at news services.
Skoda.
Okay, so you have got live TV. I can watch France 24, CNN, can watch the World Cup. Well, Scotland exited before any English viewers comment about it, so why would I want to watch that? Deutsche Welle, Bloomberg, Euronews. So a number of news channels. There's sports, there are some entertainment channels, movies, stuff in here for kids. Like I say, my son's at university, so a little bit late for me seeing this. There's some Skoda videos in there, Tour de France and the ice hockey, and so you can see there's quite a lot of useful stuff there if you're hanging about in your car. I tend not to, and so I haven't actually used any of these, to be honest. But let's have a quick look. The other thing about the 85 car,
Writes himself as a deal maker, but making.
let's just turn that down. You can see there news footage from the NATO summit in Turkey, and this has all been driven by the car's inbuilt eSIM, and so it's got a 4G connection, and that also lets you use things like the internet radio. None of these features are available on the older cars because they don't have that connectivity built in. So that is all very useful, and none of this was on the car when I got it. And then last but not least, there is Spotify. Those who are real audiophiles, I'm not one, tell me that the sound quality here is much better than Spotify over Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and I'm not such a finely tuned ear that I can tell, but yeah, you can play different music from your Spotify account. This is logged in with my own Spotify account. I don't tend to use Spotify these days. I use YouTube Music. So lots of people, particularly Tesla owners, will say, what other car continues to improve by software updates after you've bought it? Well, Skoda. As far as I know, these updates have not been brought to all the other cars. My wife has got a brand new 2026 Cooper Born. It has none of these things. So all these things have been brought to the 2024 onwards cars, and again, if you're looking to buy one second hand, that means these cars are bang up to date, and the older cars, even just a few months earlier, will never get these features because the hardware just isn't there. Now, there is one thing that irritates me about this car, other than the slightly irritating HVAC fault I've got, and that is, well, I'm going to show you. So these seats look fantastic, and they are really, really comfortable. They're really well finished, but this perforated finish, I really don't know why Skoda do this, because if you're like me and you're using the car for work, you're travelling a lot, you might find yourself occasionally grabbing a sandwich at motorway services and jumping back in the car and eating your sandwich. And I don't know if you can see, I've tried to clean it up, see if it's picking up in the camera, but you get little dots, little crumbs that fall into those perforations, and it's a really small point, but you just can't get them out. I've tried all sorts of things, and you have brushes and leather cleaning materials, all sorts of stuff, and you never ever get them out. And to be honest, by the time you've had a go at cleaning them, it's usually time when you're stopping for another sandwich and you're going to mess them all up again. So that is a really irritating feature. If I were buying the car myself, would I get the leather seats? Probably not. Now I said there were some features on this car which were not... Let me put it into drive. Oh, I can't. Okay. So I said there are some features which have been removed from the very latest edition models, and without sitting down with a brochure, this is the one thing that springs to my mind, and these are the flappy panels. Now a lot of people don't really understand what these are for, and they say they're a waste of space. Let me explain. So the flappy paddles basically control the regen. If you press the button on the paddle on the left, it will increase your regen. It's got a minus sign on it, and people say that doesn't make any sense. Why is it saying minus? I think of it in terms of minus to reduce your speed, and if you press the one on the right, it will reduce your regen. So when I'm driving in D mode, the car will, a lot of the time, will flag up on Eco Assist that I should take my foot off the pedal, off the throttle, and the car has worked out that's the best time to get me to coast to the next junction, roundabout, whatever it may be. If you find that the car has overcompensated and braked too early or slowed too early using regen, you can take some of the regen off and increase the coasting. If you find that you're coasting too much and you actually need to slow down, quick tap on the flappy paddles and you will boost your regen. And I find that is just the most relaxing way to drive. Is it the end of the world if you don't have those? Absolutely not. But I don't understand why they've taken them away from the Edition. And if you want these on the new cars, you have to buy the Sport line or the VRS. So that brings all sorts of other things I don't want, 21-inch wheels and so on. Don't need all that. They're less comfortable and less efficient. So yeah, a 2024 model pre-facelift, pre-cosmetic facelift is the sweet spot in terms of the 85. The other thing you get, of course, and you can see it in all my videos when I'm filming myself like this, that amazing panoramic roof. That I never tire of that, although when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I personally don't see it, but my passengers really, really love it. So what's the car been like to live with? Well, to be honest, it's been fantastic. I enjoyed my last Enyaq. This one, yeah, even better. The only time we've struggled for space with the Coupe was when we were trying to fit an IKEA desk into the back of it, and we discovered that it was just slightly too low to fit the entire desk in. The gentleman selling us the desk assured us it would fit because he had previously driven an Enyaq, but he'd driven the estate version, and the desk had fitted in there, but it wasn't fitting in the Coupe. Other than that, this has been phenomenal. The only issue, like I say, has been this ongoing shortcoming, glitch with the HVAC system. Is that a showstopper? Absolutely not. I'm just basically programmed in my head now. It's part of my routine. When I get in the car, I turn the HVAC off and then turn it back on, and it fixes itself. Does it impact the efficiency if I don't do that? Yes, sometimes, because you're actually heating or cooling the entire car. So if you're looking for an Enyaq, an older Enyaq, then I would say go for one of these, the 2024 or even the 2025 model. But on the used market, these are a fantastic option. They've got all the advantages of the latest cars, but you've got some extras in the sense that you've got the flappy paddles there, which don't appear on the very latest cars. Other than that, it has been an absolute joy to drive. I have been driving EVs now since 2018. I've owned a Nissan Leaf, I've owned a Renault Zoe, I've owned a Tesla Model 3, and now this is my second Enyaq. This car is the best of the lot. In fact, it's not just the best of those, I would say it is the best car I've ever owned. There are glitches, it's not fault free. You saw earlier on, for the first time, this car is 2.5 years old, and for the first time it developed that scrolling screen problem. Never seen it before, left it alone for 10 minutes and it's all sorted again. The HVAC, yeah, minor irritation, and yes, if you drive it into the side of your house you will scrape the paintwork. I'm pretty sure that's true of any other car. Anyway, I hope that's of some use. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, have you bought a second-hand Enyaq? Are you in the market for one? Let me know in the comments below and let's have a discussion about it. If you've got any queries, I'll do my best to answer them. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon.